J family, we are back with another review, this time for SH Figuarts Kinnikuman Nemesis, and I am very excited. First things first, just want to say happy birthday to the shonen godfather himself, Kinnikuman. He is literally the reason that I started going hard on this channel. I'm very thankful for the J family. We reached 291, and recently even Yude Sensei himself, one of the authors of Kinnikuman, even followed us on Twitter, J family. So clearly the Kinnikuman love is strong and it's burning, and I'm happy, and let's keep sharing it. Also, by the time this video goes up, it will be 42 years ago that the original Kinnikuman anime aired. So he's really here with us to stay, and that's exactly why we do the reviews, to keep the blood pumping for our #1 shonen hero. So today we're going to be taking a look at Nemesis. Very, very excited. We're going to be taking a look at his presentation, his articulation, his accessories, and then at the end we'll do some comparisons with Super Phoenix, Neptuneman, since he's also a perfect Chojin, obviously the most recent release of Kinnikuman, and just for fun we'll throw in some of the Akuma Chojin. We'll see how I'm feeling, maybe throw in Date Masamune, but yeah, so let's get right into it, J family. J family, very briefly wanted to mention the Hokuto No Ken remake starts next week, and I will be doing a review of Revoltech Kenshiro Hokuto Musou version. I keep them in the plastic because it's pretty rare find for me. And then after that, we'll open up some voting for the rest of my Hokuto No Ken figures. So I hope you guys are excited for more Hokuto no Ken and the remake. Also wanted to mention, as per the J family's request, we did go in on the One Piece Evolve line, and these guys are pretty great too. Got some more Dragon Ball for you guys as well. So gonna do a video on these guys, lots of fun. Perfect Origin numbers. So who is Nemesis? Nemesis is one of the Kanpeki Chojin, perfect Chojin, but specifically, unlike Neptuneman, he is one of the perfect Rajo numbers, perfect large numbers. Basically, the new faction of the perfect Chojin, or you should really rather say the true perfect Chojin that were introduced in the Perfect Origin arc of Kinnikuman. I love the box art as always. They look great. What I love about this is this figure came out way ahead of the Perfect Origin arc anime. So even though the anime represents this character perfectly, this figure is actually based off the manga. And I have to say, it looks sensational. That's why we see the bunch of manga panels all over the box. And also says OC, meaning original color, for the manga characters. It just looks super good. Right here we can see his Nemesis driver, which he does on Robin Mask. We can see an allusion to, and this is not in the anime yet, but we can see Nemesis fighting Kinnikuman in his Scramble for the Throne arc outfit, which I need that color. I have the blue one for the anime, but I do not have the black and the red one. That's like a must. Here we can see his Niku guard with the battle mask. Looks super good. So, you know how we do, J family. Let's get into this bad boy already. It just looks super cool. The boxes for the Kinnikuman figures look great. All right, J family, we are back. Just had to make a quick incision, but Nemesis is definitely, to me, out of the new, well, let me remove this carefully since he got caught on the film back there. Nemesis to me is the coolest so far of the Perfect Origin arc Chojin introduced. He's the coolest one. I mean, he's an evil Kinnikuman. You guys know Super Phoenix is one of my favorites as well, so I'm a sucker for that. But yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to downplay the figure, because this is great. I actually prefer simplicity. But you guys can see he doesn't come with a crazy amount of accessories. Quick look at him. I have to say though, similar to Super Phoenix, he looks absolutely mesmerizing. So before we dive further, I couldn't help myself, because as soon as I saw how immaculate Nemesis's paint job is, I just have to say, his paint job looks sensational. I couldn't help but bring myself. I know it's supposed to be towards the end of the video, but I had to crack them out right away because I'm like, these guys might be battling each other for the best Kinnikuman SH Figuarts right now. Closer look at him fresh out of the box. I have to say, he looks absolutely sensational, even with the plastic still on him. One of my favorite things, and I'm pretty sure it stands out already, is his armor. It looks amazing. It looks super good. And I really love the red. It's like a dark, I can't call it crimson. It's definitely closer to like a Mazinger color, like a dark ruby. And it looks really good. Let's get this plastic off for you, J family. So usually you just pop the abdomen. Yep. Take the plastic off. And then pop that back on as such. And as you can see, that was very nice and tight and snappy. So that's great. I couldn't help myself but to compare, but here's my Mazin Kaiser. And here's Nemesis. I guess I was a little wrong. Nemesis is definitely closer to the ruby or burgundy. And then this is more of a hot red. But it seems like, nah, I was wrong. Starting from the top though, I have to say, he absolutely looks immaculate. So one thing you'll immediately notice that is a massive standout compared to the other Kinnikuman is the pigmentation of his skin. There's one other blue character in the Kinnikuman line, and that is Ashura Man. And Ashura Man, this figure is one of my favorite figures ever. But you can still see the difference in their tones. And the reason I wanted to highlight that is because for him having more of a aqua / sky blue, you can definitely see different hues of said blue within the figure itself. Looks pretty great. Only issue that I have that I'm seeing is there are a couple of speckles of QC on the figure. Like on the lip right there, on the muscles right here. It's not the end of the world, but it is something that, you know, can be noticed. So moving on, I have to say, as usual, the Kinniku fin looks great. One thing I noticed between the Kinniku men is a lot of people assume that the fins are the same, but the fins are actually different. You take a look at Phoenix, his fin is actually a lot more pronounced. Suguru's fin is actually even smaller than Nemesis's fin. And we haven't cracked open Soldier yet, but you get the point that I'm trying to establish. I appreciate that this is not a copy and paste job, so that's pretty great. Moving down, you can see, so Nemesis doesn't have a Niku mark. It is a different mark. And I'll put the translation up here for you guys. But I really love the attention to detail in Nemesis's face. Especially, obviously, the one that stands out the most is his mask / visor, which I love that he actually comes with a battle mask, because there is not a single articulated Kinnikuman figure that comes with a battle mask. Even the Revoltech Kinnikuman, which I do want to get him one day, does not have a battle mask. But he does have the KKD armor. So, moving on from that, I really just love his tattoos on his face. The black marks look really great. Even his yellow eyes. I love how what's really great about this figure is the golden eyes are hidden beneath the shadows of the visor. So it gives you this look, and then you can just come down here and give it a totally new look depending on the angle and the lighting. It looks great. And then obviously the light bounces off of his visor splendidly. Another thing to note, and I know it might seem like a small comparison, but notice his lips, again matching Nemesis's more demonic-like appearance, are more purple, a bit more pale, especially in comparison to even the other evil Kinnikuman. It's a very interesting difference, and I really appreciate that there's all these subtle differences between the different Kinnikuman figures. So, moving on, His neck looks really good, especially this compared to the earlier Kinnikuman figures. Like Terry Man as an example. Boom, that's actually a perfect example. You can see a drastic difference in just the neck mold. Granted, he was one of the first releases, but my point still stands. A lot less gappy going on. I mean, there is some gappy when you do go look all the way up, but it's not really that bad. And there is no gap when you look down, so that's pretty good. Moving on to the armor. I have to say the armor, his chest piece right here, it might be like my favorite, but then simultaneously one of the things that hinders this figure. Not in a bad way per se, but I was already messing around with it a little bit. And you have to be a little careful because of the way these spikes hug around Nemesis. You don't want these to cut into his abs a lot because then it could potentially scrape it, right? So you gotta be really careful with that. But other than that, it looks sensational. I mean, it's kind of the way I'm trying to describe it. Actually, we have Akuma Shogun right here. That's a perfect example. You can see these are both characters with armor, and they both have like this little glimmer / metallic glisten to them, right? But compared to Akuma Shogun, for example, Nemesis really just hits the perfect balance of dark. Like he's really like a dark angel almost. And it looks so great. It's like a navy gray and it looks super good. My favorite part is that despite the armor, it's still molded in a bit of his rear delts right here or / lats. It looks really good. And his arms are definitely a new mold as well. I mean, you can see it right there. Granted, I'll admit, Super Phoenix looks like he's been doing a bit more buys. Yeah. But I said that in the Super Phoenix review. Super Phoenix looks super. But Nemesis is supposed to be like the perfect fighting Chojin. So if Robin Mask is the Chojin professor and knows all the techniques, then Nemesis is priding himself on being able to crush any technique. But moving on from that, segueing into the arms, I have to say I do appreciate, even though it is a different musculature, I still do appreciate the detail in them. And I really like how within the paint job, you can just see the different shadings of his blue. It kind of reminds me a bit of the Ramondo figures in a sense, just in terms of the painting at least. It's really good. His elbows don't really look that bad. I appreciate that they still have the perfect swivel. And more importantly, his taped up fists look super good. Like really good. I mean, this guy is not the cheapest figure ever, but one could argue that you could be motivated to purchase this figure and repaint, like just use the arm for like, I don't know, another character. It looks really good. That's how good it looks is kind of my point. Taped up fists look great. Moving on to the center with the abs, I have to say, even though you have to battle it a little bit because of the armor, it does look really good though. Especially the fact that despite them continuing the mold of the armor onto here, you can still see his obliques and the abs clear as day. Even his V area looks really good. His hip abductors are all the way out. I mean, even compared to other Kinnikuman. I'm not trying to sound weird here, J Family. Just trying to identify the musculature of the figures. His rear and his lower abdominal area are very finely detailed. Really great stuff. Honestly, compared to almost any of the Kinnikuman I have. Even Ramen Man. That's kind of crazy. Good stuff on them. And they continue that goodwill into the legs with, again, just want to highlight how great of a sculpt this is considering he still has all his articulation. I love that there is a dark chocolate brown accompanied by the lighter milky brown. It looks really good. I'm trying to look for some blacks, but there's not really a lot of blacks here. It's really a lot of browns and dark browns. It looks really great because the boots are a black and they equally look great. And what I love is his musculature is still coming through entirely. More bandages right here around the legs that also equally look great. He kind of feels like an articulated Ramondo. Well, Ramondos are already articulated, but you know what I'm trying to say. And I mean that in a positive way, just in terms of his sheer musculature and the paint. It looks super great, even from a distance. Got a couple of wrinkles in the boot, but I feel like that kind of covers presentation for the most part. Let's dive into articulation. So, first things first, does he get a 360? It doesn't really seem like he does, J Family. And it makes sense just because of the combination of the fin and the chin and the chest piece. It's not really rocking that way. In terms of back, he gets a pretty great back. Can look all the way up. Forward, pretty good forward too. Can look all the way down. Not really that bad. A little bit of gappy back here with the neck. I guess if you're doing this kind of pose, you would run into some gap, but if you were looking at him like that, it wouldn't be really too bad. So, and the neck does give you a nice rock around. It's pretty good stuff. Some slight gap down there, but it's not the end of the world. I like it. As usual, you can still give that getting hit in the face emulation totally fine. Moving on to the shoulders, he does have that little, there we go. Does have that additional hinge in there, so he can come out and get those extra poses as needed, whether it's a blocking pose or you want to do the Niku guard. You can get into those poses very quickly. And I'm honestly super happy about that. And just to show you guys, he does get a very easy 360 full up. And what I love here, you guys can see it, because of that extra space that is molded into there, you can really get pretty freaking high up. That's really great stuff, especially considering he does have pretty decently sized shoulders and armor too. That's pretty good. Then double jointed elbow, really good. I think he gets a pretty good flex, especially considering he still has the tapered fists. Obviously you can still come out here and get those other poses if you want. Yeah, this shoulder mechanic, yeah, you see you got a lot of range of motion up there. That's awesome, Nemesis. Could easily really hit a lot of fighter poses with Nemesis. That's literally his point. He's the perfect Trojan, the perfect Niku. But before I get too carried away, you can see, you can get a full 360 on his fist. Get a closer look, you can actually see, yep, it's on the hinge right there. So it's just great. And then moving on to his abdominal area. So his abdominal area is where I warned you, J Family, we were gonna run into some complications, right? Because of just the way the armor is molded, I'm very gently maneuvering this, by the way. But we can get a 360 at the waist. But what did I say? I'm gently maneuvering this. And even then, just because you can do it, I wouldn't want to do it. That's just a personal opinion. Something in my heart tells me if you do that the wrong way too many times, it can scratch itself. But in terms of left to right, it's pretty good. It's just, again, you have to be mindful because of the armor. Like, how are you going to get around it, right? So in terms of the camel clutch test, let's just get right into that. He's not, in terms of the back, yeah, that's the complication with the armor. He's really barely getting any back. Barely. I mean, I'm flexing it now. Let me not say barely. It's there. But when you compare that to our favorite evil Kiniku, yeah, I mean, and this is with barely any gap. I mean, I said this in his review. Look at him smiling, knowing he's the best SH. With barely any gap, it's not even close. But that's why we do these, J family, to highlight the differences. So that's the back. His forward is all right. His forward is actually a lot better than his back. It's actually pretty good, but obviously it's because of this. So the cost of being cool is you have slightly less range of motion, but he looks absolutely badass. So in terms of the actual lower abdominal area, you do get a bit of a side to side. Yep. So that's pretty great, because if you combine it with that, yeah, you can get some pretty good twists in. And what I love too, you can see there's even some extra abdominal muscles molded underneath just to cover up any gaps. So that's really good. It's actually a great attention to detail. Moving on to the legs. So as always with the Kinnikuman, he has the leg extension mechanic, which allows him to be put in all types of crazy poses, whether you want to hit him with a buster or you want to have him doing the spark or a driver, whatever you want in your Kinniku heart, he has that ability to pull it off, and I love that. I mean, if I really just want to fully extend his limbs here, J family, yeah, I mean, that's pretty awesome. And this is an articulated figure, not a model kit, so that's sick. Pretty phenomenal forward, pretty phenomenal back. I mean, even if I plug, so to speak, plug the leg back in, it's still great. You still get the greatest Captain Tsubasa Saka kick of your life. He just feels really easy and fun to pose, and he looks really cool. I like him a lot. He might be right behind Super Phoenix. Yeah, he just feels really easy and fun and cool to pose. I like him a lot. He might be right behind Super Phoenix. I don't know. It's a tough battle between them two. Speaking of which, major shout outs to the J family who voted. Nemesis the poll had 11 votes. I mean, it only had 3 likes, so if the next poll we can get some more likes, that would be greatly appreciated. But still, it shows that the fire is strong for the Kiniku family. So that kind of covers the legs. Does he get the Yujiro split? I feel the answer to that should be a bit obvious, but we'll test it anyways for the J family. So maybe the answer was not that obvious, J family, because he kind of does not get the Yujiro split. Like, he kind of does, but like barely passing. I would say that's like literally if you were taking a test, you'd be getting a 65% of passing. But it's all right. Nemesis is not, I wouldn't say he's not really a Yujiro split pose kind of character. Nemesis is usually landing counters and beating people, like stomping on their face. Pretty great stuff. He does get a swivel here. Unfortunately, no bicep swivel, which that kind of whack considering Super Phoenix. Yep, Super Phoenix does have that swivel. Double jointed knee. I have to say his knee looks decent. I'm not gonna lie to the J family and say it looks really great, but it gets the job done. He doesn't have the privilege that Phoenix has of having knee pads, so. But one thing he does have over Phoenix is I do love these boots. They do look really great. And because he's obviously a Chojin and he actually has musculature calves, it looks super great. Like, he looks like he has big stocky legs. My only issue is because of the whole way the boot is molded, it does limit his ankle side to side a little bit. I mean, not the most, right? Not like the end of the world. He still gets some decent range of motion. It's just, you know, a slight hindrance. But that covers Nemesis's articulation for the most part. Let's get into accessories. So Nemesis doesn't come with a whole lot of accessories. He comes with grasping hands, and unlike other Kinnikuman characters, he literally only has one pair. He comes with a pointing hand, right? Usually the declaration of I challenge you, or I'm number one. A screaming face to perform a special move, or just be yelling or talking crap. And then one thing I do love is he comes with his battle mask. And his battle mask looks really good. The only negative I'm noticing, J family, his battle mask looks super good. Only thing with his battle mask is the battle mask, as you can see, does not light up his insignia. But other than that, it still looks really great. And it's super easy to swap. Literally just pull this off. Put this one on. Boom. Dang, that looks sick. His battle mask looks fire. I feel like I would probably have the battle mask on more than anything else. Just because there's no other Niku characters with the battle mask. Little demonstration with him with the battle mask on. I have to say, in terms of posing, this guy's a beast. He looks great. And I know he's gonna look great performing wrestling moves in the ring. I have to say, it's just a little different than Super Phoenix, more so in the sense of, if Super Phoenix felt like an articulated, well, even though super action statues are articulated, you know my point. If he felt closer to a super action statue, then Nemesis, in terms of the paint and the muscles, feels closer to Oromando. But his articulation is definitely still SH Figuarts. It's just, I would say in comparison, just with a few limitations, nothing crazy, but because of the armor, because of the boots, he does have like a minus 10% articulation compared to some of the other characters. And depending on what you're trying to do, it could be even as far as minus 20%, right? Because if you want to get your character hit with a camel clutch, you're not going to do that. But again, I said this in the Super Phoenix review. I do think Super Phoenix might legitimately, I mean, we haven't done Ramen Man yet, and I heard Ramen Man is the best, but Super Phoenix might be the best Kinnikuman SH Figuarts. But I think in terms of having Kinniku villains, I'm happy these guys exist, especially because we did not get the 5 Royal Princes. We didn't get, I mean, we got him, we got Kinnikuman Soldier right over here, but we didn't get, obviously, Mariposa or Zebra or Big Body. So having these two guys is pretty awesome. And I have to admit, back to back, they look great. I really like them together, especially fighting each other. They look even cooler, but let's show off the other faceplate really quick. It looks pretty great, J family. It looks really great. My only slight caveat is when you're trying to do certain poses like this, because of the limitation with the armor, I can't get him to kind of puff his chest out any more than it is. You get what I mean? Like, he's just kind of in this position. But I still think it looks really great. I just think it should be noted, if you were looking to get Nemesis, you should know that the armor does limit some of that rear articulation. Versus if I was trying to do, say I wanted to get a cross arm pose with Phoenix, which I love that it's super easy to do with this figure. This figure is great. Say I wanted to get a cross arm pose with Phoenix, And I just kind of want to have him wear his chest out a little more. Exactly. I can do that. Kind of give him like literally a super M. Bison, super Phoenix kind of pose. But either way, I mean, Kinniku villains, he's not a royal prince, but either way, so cool. And don't worry, J family, I saw you in the poll. I see people want Soldier, don't worry. I'll put Soldier up on the next poll again, give him another fighting chance at it. Let's get into some comparisons, and then I'll give some final thoughts on Nemesis. Alright, so first up, we'll compare him to my favorite Kinnikuman figure so far, and the same one we've been highlighting throughout the review, the God of Intelligence, Kinnikuman Super Phoenix. So, in terms of height, they scale literally beautifully together. I mean, you could argue that Super Phoenix is ever just so slightly a weensy bit taller. Yeah, he's definitely slightly taller by maybe a couple centimeters, but it's there, you know? In terms of the physique, you can see that Super Phoenix is also a bit more muscular than Nemesis. But Nemesis has bigger legs than Phoenix. If you take a look, so I guess Nemesis just decided to squat a little more, and Phoenix just decided to bench a little more. It's all good. They're still Kinniku men, muscle men, and I have to say they look really great. Especially when you compare their physiques up close. I mean, you just see the different areas that they stand out in. I really love this guy's lower physique and his abs, but the upper body on Super Phoenix is just very well detailed. It's like a super action statue versus a Ramondo in my hands, but it's crazy because they're both SH Figuarts, which I really just goes to show how great the old school, I have to call them old school now because it's been like 10 years, old school SH Figuarts Kinnikuman figures are. These guys hold up like crazy. Now we're going to compare him to SH Figuarts Neptuneman. So I just had the pointing finger because I wanted to compare those really quick. But in terms of height, Neptuneman definitely takes it for sure. However, in terms of design and in terms of mold, you can definitely see the difference in evolution between Neptuneman and Nemesis. I mean, he clearly is the true perfect Chojin, but he was just an earlier release, a bit more gappy, a bit more, little less well hidden additional areas. Just in terms of the design, he's just a bit older, but you get a good look at the hands there. You can kind of see that they are similar hands, but at the same time, they're not. I think they just took the molding of this and then just slightly refounded it, remolded it, resculpted it, with the tape on it. But in terms of the other muscles, there is a definite difference. I mean, you can see it in the triceps alone. Neptuneman's thighs are absolutely massive, has quads, and this dude is literally all broken. And the only reason I put this expression on Neptuneman was because I very briefly wanted to show that Neptuneman and all the other Kinnikuman have the worried expression, but Nemesis, does not have this expression. So that was kind of a bit disappointing. Get them pointing at each other like, "You're a perfect Chojin? There's no way. Fuzakeru na. Bullshit. Impossible." Either way, having these two back to back is great. I definitely need strong Debudo now. He's the missing shadow right here, but having two perfect Chojin, the cool part about collecting the Kinnikuman is feeling like the factions are starting to build. We got a couple Akuma Chojin as well, so that's pretty dope. Just because it's appropriate, we'll compare him to Revoltech Mini Robin. As you can see, him and Robin, I mean, they're not that bad, but it's also because Nemesis is a bit on the shorty side, but they look pretty good together. I mean, if you was to get them fighting, he would definitely look bigger, which is why we have SH Figuarts Robin, but I still think they would look well together. Just goes to show you how well made the Revoltech Mini Kinnikuman are. Alright, this one's just for fun because Baki seems to be super popular on the channel with the J family. But here's him compared to Storm Collectibles Baki. Baki's definitely way taller. Just gives Baki that aura, you know? Just because he's a more general release and a cheaper figure these days, I feel like a lot of people would have him. Here's a comparison to Cell Games Begins Goku. They actually scale perfectly. Nemesis is definitely taller than Goku, so he's the perfect villain for Goku. Finally, Kinnikusei Daio, the Royal King, Kinnikuman. I feel like this comparison is super important because they have not released. So this Kinnikuman is from the arc that this character actually debuts in. But this figure came out almost 10 years before this anime, Perfect Origin arc premiered. So the reason this is an important comparison to me is because right now, if you've been watching the new Kinnikuman anime and you want to do Suguru versus Nemesis, this is what is currently available. Now, I want to highlight this because if you're an American or a Western Kinnikuman fan, 9 out of 10, you're probably going to have to import these fellas. These fellas, or specifically the new Kinnikuman, he's a recent release. I've been going figure hunting a lot recently. You can find him in the stores. But the older figures like these, you will have to do your research for. The only reason I mention that is because I'm noticing as time is flying by, they are starting to become a little harder to find. So I am going to put my pedal to the metal and try to get the last few that I'm missing. I'm only missing like 2 or 3. But my point being is, if you're watching the new Kinnikuman anime, you want to recreate this iconic battle, you need this Nemesis at the moment. I am hoping that they make a new Nemesis with an updated body similar to Kinnikuman. That's just making him a bit more buff overall, and maybe finds a way to solve the issue with his armor, right? But I really do love this guy. I think they do look well together. I just think there's a couple of things that are obvious. One, he's bigger, he's buffer, he's taller. He's just super in every way. This is why I do love this Kinnikuman though, because he does feel like an authentic Kinnikuman. But that kind of is why we need some updated ones for the older guys, because now, in comparison, if they were in a fight, I think I would put my money on Kinnikuman. What do you guys think? If these guys were throwing down, I think I'd put my money on Kinnikuman. But in terms of physique, I have to say, yeah, I mean, they're kind of close, but the new Kinnikuman is just too muscular. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but more so he's new. I think the difference in age between these guys is about 9 years or 8 years. Because he came out in 2014, 2015. And then this one came out in 2025. So, close. Actually, no, that would make it 10 or 11 years. But either way, I have to say they look all right together. If you were to have them fight and throw down, it wouldn't be that bad. But what is funny though is the older figures in a couple of ways actually have better articulation than new Kinnikuman. But final thoughts on Nemesis. I have to say, as someone who owns the majority of the Kinnikuman line and literally all of the Revoltex, I think this guy stands pretty high in the Kinnikuman totem pole in a positive way. His paint job is pretty immaculate. I love all the accents. I mean, you can see them from a distance, even with the blues, all the different blues that they use on the character. Really sells the shading of the musculature. Same thing with the different browns. And I want to say a little bit of black kind of in certain areas that were used for his bodysuit also look really great. When you bring it all together in conjunction with his armor and his new tapered mold that's really been just done very well for the character overall, I think it makes Nemesis a must-have, especially if you're one of, this might sound funny, a newer Kinnikuman fan. You could be someone who just started watching Kinnikuman through the Netflix anime, and you might think to yourself, man, Nemesis looks really cool, I want that figure. And if you were to go and find yourself this guy, he's not that super expensive. There's definitely more of the Kinnikuman that are more expensive. I actually think he might be somewhere in the sweet spot of the middle, simply because he is not as well known. Because unlike the other characters like Warsman, Robin, so on and so forth, those characters have almost 40 years of history, that 40 plus years, let me correct myself, of history that they're pulling on when it comes to memories. But when it comes to characters like Nemesis, I want to call them a bit more of the new school, where there were characters that debuted even past Kinnikuman Nisei's debut. So they might be more familiar with a more modern audience. I would say he's a good pickup. Even if you're a new collector, I would give him a final rating of, just due to his lack of accessories, A-. But in terms of his articulation and his paint job, all of that is definitely in the A tier. Unfortunately, he can't steal the almost arguably S tier that is Super Phoenix, but he is pretty close. And in our journey of reviewing the Kinnikuman, we will find a character that is better than Phoenix, hopefully. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like for more retro shonen and subscribe, most importantly, for more Kinnikuman and to celebrate our favorite heroes together. This review is a lot of fun. I hope you can feel the passion pouring from my Heart J family, and make sure to like and subscribe. All right, guys. Solomon.